Welcome to the deep dive. We take complex topics and, well, we try to make sense of them for you. Today, we're digging into a pretty massive shift happening right now in the financial world. Just think about this for a second. Over the next couple decades, something like $84.4 trillion is expected to move from baby boomers to the next generation. That's just a staggering number, a truly historic transfer of wealth.
It really is. And, it's more than just the amount of money. It's fundamentally changing how wealth itself needs to be managed. This isn't just a simple pass the baton situation. It's a real evolution in financial services.
Exactly. And that leads us right into our main topic today, this emerging idea of the family CFO. Now, this isn't just some fancy new title someone cooked up. It's really a whole rethinking of how high net worth and ultra high net worth families handle their finances, which are getting more and more complex. So our mission here is to kind of walk you through that journey, from the traditional way of managing portfolios, often in silos, to this much more comprehensive family CFO model. We want to look at the opportunities, sure, but also the challenges and some of the, frankly, cutting-edge strategies firms are using.
Yeah.
And how technology is playing a starring role in making it all happen.
Right. And even if you listening aren't managing, a multi-million-dollar portfolio yourself, the trends we're talking about, they really shed light on how financial services are becoming more integrated, more personalized for everyone. These shifts have ripple effects.
Okay, so let's start by setting the scene a bit. Traditional wealth management firms, even the big ones with long histories in banking and trusts, what kind of pressure are they actually under right now?
Oh, it's intense. It really is. They're feeling squeezed from, pretty much all directions. You've got rapid tech innovation changing everything, client expectations shifting dramatically, and then fierce competition from newer, often more nimble players. Think wealth tech startups, independent advisors. The old ways of operating just aren't cutting it anymore.
Yeah, I can see that. It feels like just managing investments, that kind of plain vanilla portfolio management has become, almost a commodity, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Maybe 10 years ago, a client might switch firms mainly because of investment performance or fees, but now?
Now, those reasons often aren't enough. And that's where this family CFO concept comes in as the strategic response. It's about moving way beyond just the investments. It's about harmonizing everything, pulling together all the threads of a client's financial life into one coherent narrative. Their business interests, family trusts, maybe some venture investments, charitable vehicles, the whole picture.
Like conducting a financial orchestra, you said?
That's a good way to put it, yeah. Every instrument needs to play together.
And what's really striking, I think, is that clients are the ones demanding this. I saw some industry surveys suggesting something like 72% of ultra high net worth clients now expect this sort of one desk coordination across everything.
That's right. And even more powerfully, nearly two-thirds, around 64%, say they'd actually move their money to a firm that could deliver that integrated approach.
Wow. So it's not just a nice-to-have, it's a must-have for many.
Exactly. And this is critical. Management consulting reports show that for these families, holistic oversight now often ranks above pure investment alpha, beating the market, as the main reason they consolidate their relationships. So when an advisor steps up and acts like a kind of personal board chair, connecting the CPA, the attorneys, maybe even bringing in the next generation heirs, that builds incredibly strong loyalty. And frankly, it helps take some pressure off fees because the value proposition is so much broader than just investment returns.
Okay, so it's clear this family CFO thing is way more than just branding or marketing fluff. It sounds like it genuinely restructures how a firm actually works from the inside out. What does that look like operationally?
Yeah, it absolutely demands fundamental operational shifts. First, you see the rise of these cross-functional teams or pods.
Yeah.
These aren't just separate departments anymore. You have tax specialists, estate planners, investment experts, all collaborating closely, often daily. The goal is to shorten client response times, act as one unified unit.
Makes sense. Less handing things off between departments.
Precisely. Second, there's a move towards more dynamic workflows. Instead of just reacting, firms are using real-time data flows. Say, information about a liquidity event like a business sale or a capital call for a private investment. That data can trigger proactive advice, not just waiting for the next scheduled meeting.
Okay, more proactive, less reactive, and the client experience itself.
That changes dramatically, too. It moves beyond the standard quarterly report review, which can feel a bit backward-looking. Instead, you have these multi-topic strategy sessions. Often, they involve multiple family members addressing a much wider range of needs all at once: succession planning, philanthropy, education, you name it.
That sounds like a much deeper, more engaged relationship. But building these capabilities, it must be a heavy lift for firms. How are they actually doing it? Are they building it all themselves?
Well, there are a few main paths firms are taking. One common strategy is building out strong partner networks. Think of it as assembling curated circles of competence. They form formal alliances with specialized boutique law firms, tax advisors, maybe specialist lenders. Crucially, these partnerships operate under shared standards, formal service level agreements, SLAs, to ensure the service quality is consistent and data handling is secure. And doing it this way can actually speed things up significantly, sometimes cutting the time to launch a new service offering by up to 40%.
40% faster, that's substantial. But what about the really big players, the ones managing billions? Are they more likely to bring this expertise in-house?
Yes, generally. For larger firms, say those managing over $5 billion in assets, the trend often leans towards internalizing these capabilities. They're actively building out their own in-house tax and estate planning teams, hiring CPAs, JDs, LLMs to deepen that internal expertise. Now, this definitely creates tighter workflows, keeps more intellectual capital under one roof, but it's a bigger commitment. You have to carefully think through career paths for these specialists, how compensation works, and you need really sophisticated risk controls in place.
Right, it's a significant investment. And for the smaller firms, maybe under $1 billion AUM, are there ways for them to compete on this front without building huge internal teams?
Absolutely. For those smaller firms, turnkey affiliation platforms have become quite popular. These platforms essentially offer bundled services, things like compliance support, advanced reporting tools, and access to networks of specialists. It can really accelerate their ability to offer these more comprehensive services. The main thing they need to watch out for, though, is the potential risk of vendor lock-in. You become quite reliant on that platform provider.
It really sounds like technology is the absolute linchpin holding all of this together, enabling firms to blend that core fiduciary advice with these much broader, almost institutional level services.
It is. It's the backbone, absolutely. Without robust tech, trying to manage all these diverse client needs, the complex regulations, keeping operations efficient, it would just be overwhelming.
So what kind of tech are we talking about specifically?
Well, it's a whole suite, really. You've got sophisticated portfolio management systems, PMS, giving you that real-time data view. Then there are customer relationship management, CRM systems, but tailored specifically for the complexities of high-net-worth clients. Add in advanced financial planning software, cutting-edge risk management tools. These are the core systems providing visibility and control.
And you mentioned regulations earlier.
Yeah.
That's a growing headache, I imagine.
Huge. So regulatory technology, or RegTech, is becoming indispensable. These are solutions designed specifically to help firms navigate complex compliance rules, manage all the necessary documentation, prepare for audits, basically keep them on the right side of the law. And of course, with all this incredibly sensitive financial data flying around, cybersecurity is absolutely paramount. We're talking top-tier encryption, secure cloud storage, continuous threat monitoring. It has to be locked down tight.
I can also see how automating things like client reporting would be a massive efficiency gain, freeing up advisors from tedious manual work.
Totally. Automated reporting tools are a game changer for communication. They can efficiently generate detailed, accurate reports, sometimes customized for each client. And that frees up the wealth managers to focus on what really matters, those strategic conversations, understanding the client's goals, building the relationship. And technology is also directly enhancing client engagement itself. Things like secure client portals, slick native mobile apps. They give clients real-time portfolio access, maybe interactive planning tools, personalized communication streams. It makes the client feel much more connected and in control.
And this is where things get really interesting, with AI and machine learning stepping into the picture. How are they changing the game?
Yeah, AI and ML are definitely at the forefront now. They're enabling things like predictive analytics, looking for potential market trends, or anticipating asset performance. And they allow for incredibly personalized investment strategies, tailored to individual client risk profiles and goals in a way that was hard to do at scale before.
So better insights, more personalization. What about the operational side?
Big impact there, too. These technologies can automate a lot of routine operational processes, which significantly reduces the chance of human error and just boosts overall efficiency. Now, an important point comes up here. Is AI going to replace human advisors?
Right, the million-dollar question, or maybe the trillion-dollar question now.
Exactly. But the consensus among experts seems to be, no, not replacement, but augmentation. AI is poised to make advisors' lives easier, to liberate them from the more mundane tasks. Imagine AI transcribing meeting notes automatically, summarizing key discussion points, even providing context mapping, linking current discussions to past conversations or relevant documents. It could generate draft action items. This lets the advisor focus much more on the high-value stuff, exercising judgment, building deep client relationships, providing empathy and understanding the things AI can't do, left plain vanilla work, more strategic thinking.
That's a powerful shift, turning advisors into even more strategic partners. But you mentioned all these different systems, CRM, portfolio tools, planning software. Getting them all to talk to each other seamlessly, that sounds like a major hurdle.
It absolutely is.
Mm.
Integration is still a significant challenge across the industry. You have all these powerful tools, but making them work together as one unified system, sharing data effortlessly between the CRM, the reporting engine, the planning platform, that's the goal. The industry is definitely working hard on it, and we're seeing progress. But achieving that truly seamless, fully integrated solution, that's still kind of the holy grail for many firms.
Okay, so as firms move towards this family CFO model, let's touch on a couple of specific areas that are becoming more important. Alternative investments and values-based investing. Are these being woven in?
Oh, very much so. Take alternative assets, private equity, venture capital, real estate, hedge funds. They're rapidly shifting from being an optional extra to an expected part of a sophisticated portfolio. In fact, industry surveys show that the vast majority, something like 96% of financial professionals, including independent RIAs, are planning to increase their allocations to private markets in the near future. Wow, 96%. That's almost universal. But I've heard managing alternatives can be a nightmare with older systems. Things like keeping track of capital calls, getting clear performance data when it's not publicly traded, staying compliant. You've hit on the key pain points exactly. Legacy systems really struggle with this stuff. You get what some call capital call chaos, manual tracking, missed contributions. It's messy. Performance reporting can be opaque, with infrequent valuations that distort the real picture. And there are often reg tech gaps, manual suitability checks, delays in updating regulatory filings. But again, technology is providing solutions. Automated workflows for capital calls, better data aggregation tools for performance reporting, specialized reg tech for alternatives. When firms get this right, automating processes, integrating data, aligning the right talent, they can see significantly faster closing cycles for deals and even measurable lifts in profit margins. It turns a headache into an opportunity.
Okay, and moving beyond just the financial mechanics, what about the growing interest in aligning wealth with personal values, things like ESG or impact investing?
Yeah, that's another huge trend, especially driven by younger generations of investors. They're really amplifying the demand for purpose-driven wealth management. You see stats like, I think one survey found 96% of U.S. millennials expressed interest in sustainable or ESG investing. That was the highest of any age group.
96% again.
Yeah.
Clearly a major factor.
It is. And it's not just talk. It's translating into action. We're seeing significant growth in philanthropy, too. Donor-advised funds, or DAFs, they're like charitable investment accounts, they crossed a major milestone recently, hitting about $251.5 billion in total assets by the end of 2023. That was a nearly 10% jump as markets recovered. So leading firms are responding. They're integrating tools like real-time tax analysis for charitable gifting strategies. They're linking portfolio performance metrics to things like the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Some are even offering short educational modules through their client portals to help the next generation understand impact investing concepts. It's about taking that client purpose and making it a tangible, durable part of the multi-generational plan.
Taking this whole integrated approach to the next level, we're seeing this evolution into what are called multifamily offices, or MFOs. What's happening there?
Right, MFOs are definitely entering a period of significant growth globally. The projections point to a pretty healthy compound annual growth rate, maybe around 4.8%. The number of these offices worldwide is expected to climb from roughly 8,000 now to over 10,700 by 2030.
That's quite a jump. What's fueling that growth? Why the move to a more formal MFO structure?
Well, there are a few key drivers we can point to. First, back to that massive generational wealth transfer we started, with estimates now projecting maybe $124 trillion by 2048. That sheer scale is pushing families to formalize their governance, their reporting. They need more structure.
Makes sense. The bigger the numbers, the more professional you need to be.
That's exactly. Second is operational complexity. As families allocate more to private markets, own assets globally, live international lifestyles, the traditional advisor toolkit just gets stretched too thin. This fuels demand for more concierge-type services and these comprehensive whole-of-wealth dashboards we talked about, a single place to see everything. And third, there's risk and regulation. Cyber threats are getting more sophisticated, disclosure rules are getting tougher. Relying on ad hoc processes or spreadsheets just becomes untenable. Families want, and frankly need, institutional-grade infrastructure.
Okay, it sounds like a logical evolution for many families, but transitioning from a traditional advisory firm or even just managing wealth informally into a full-fledged MFO model, that must come with its own set of challenges, right? It can't be easy.
Oh, absolutely. It's a significant leap. One major challenge is delivering those true concierge workflows.
Yeah.
Think about handling end-to-end bill pay across multiple properties, overseeing complex property management, coordinating global travel logistics. Doing that seamlessly often means wrangling fragmented vendors and ensuring really tight cyber controls across the board. It's complex.
Yeah, not just financial advice anymore.
Not at all. Another hurdle is that advanced whole-of-wealth reporting, creating that single dashboard refreshed daily, covering everything public stocks, private equity, real estate, art, trusts, operating businesses. That's incredibly difficult if you're relying on manual data entry or stitching together legacy systems. Capital call and liquidity management is another tricky area. Moving beyond spreadsheets to automated reminders, maybe running what-if scenarios for cash needs. That's tough to build, but crucial to avoid missed capital calls or being forced into rushed asset sales.
And the regulatory side doesn't get any easier, I assume.
If anything, it gets more complex. Ensuring near real-time compliance with all the relevant regulations, things like Form ADV updates for RIAs across potentially multiple jurisdictions. Doing that manually is fraught with risk. You need specialized RegTech tools. And maybe the biggest challenge of all is talent and vendor orchestration. Recruiting, retaining, and aligning that multidisciplinary team, investment pros, tax experts, legal counsel, maybe even lifestyle managers, and making sure any external partners operate under shared standards and goals. That's a huge management challenge.
So it really boils down to a major professionalization effort, moving away from informal, perhaps relationship-driven practices towards much more formalized, almost institutional-level operations.
Precisely. It really highlights the need to invest in top-tier talent, both inside the MFO and within their close network of partners. We're also seeing a growing trend and, frankly, a recognized need for more networking between family offices, sharing best practices, learning from peers, even co-investing on larger deals that might be inaccessible individually. It's about building that ecosystem.
Now, with any big transformation like this, especially moving into these hybrid models, combining fiduciary advice with broader institutional services, there are bound to be risks. What are some key pitfalls firms need to watch out for?
That's a really important point. A primary concern, especially in that hybrid RIA model, is managing potential conflicts of interest very carefully. When you're offering both advice, where you have a fiduciary duty, and maybe other non-fiduciary services like access to proprietary products or banking services, you have to be crystal clear and ensure the advice always puts the client's interest first. Transparency is key.
And the regulators must be watching this closely.
Absolutely. This dual nature can bring firms under the purview of multiple regulatory bodies, maybe the SEC for the advisory side, banking regulators, potentially FINRA if brokerage services are involved. That naturally leads to increased compliance costs and operational complexity. You're navigating multiple rule books. Another common pitfall we see is firms underestimating the foundational importance of a unified data model. You can't effectively build these sophisticated new services, the concierge workflows, the whole of wealth reporting on top of fragmented, siloed data. It's like trying to build a house on sand. The foundation has to be solid first.
And it sounds like just buying the latest tech isn't a silver bullet either. You need the people and the processes aligned too.
Yeah. Exactly right. You could automate capital call processing, for instance, but you haven't also upgraded your regulatory tech and compliance workflows around it. You might just be shifting risk further down the line without actually mitigating it. And, even the most impressive service promises will fall flat if the incentive structures aren't right. How do you ensure that all these diverse experts, tax, legal, investment, lifestyle, are truly working together as one cohesive, client-focused team? That requires careful design. Finally, firms really need to analyze the outcomes of their technology investments. It's not enough to just adopt new tech. You have to measure the impact. Is it actually improving efficiency? Is client satisfaction going up? Are we seeing growth in assets? Technology is a tool. Its value depends entirely on how effectively it's integrated and utilized alongside human expertise.
We have certainly covered a lot of ground today. We've really unpacked how this wealth management landscape is, undergoing a massive transformation, driven by that huge wealth transfer, yes, but also by these profoundly changing client demands for something more integrated, more holistic. And this family CFO concept really provides a compelling narrative for how firms are trying to step up and deliver those kinds of
I
solutions.
think that's right. And what's really exciting, or perhaps daunting depending on your perspective, is that the firms that will succeed in the future, they'll be the ones that master this complex orchestration,
Mhm.
orchestrating the technology, the top talent, the strategic partners, and maybe most critically, truly understanding and integrating the unique purpose, the values of each individual client family they serve. That disciplined execution, that ability to bring it all together seamlessly, that's where the real competitive edge lies in this evolving world.
So, a final thought for you, our listeners. As this significant shift towards more integrated, highly personalized wealth management continues to gain momentum, what does this ultimately mean for your financial future? How will this drive for a one-stop shop continue to evolve? And what kinds of unexpected innovations might we see emerge in the coming years to meet this deep-seated demand for seamless, personalized service? Definitely something to think about. We'll be back soon to dive deep into another topic.